obstacles, you just keep moving and find a way around them.
Bruce Lee has been a big influence on parkour freerunners because of his philosophy. These arts also have a philosophy. It's not just simple movement. There is actually a method to it, and there is like ways of intercepting the obstacles, ways of calculating, being sensitive to your environment, and ultimately altering your awareness so you become more in tune to yourself and your environment.
It's a philosophy that can be adapted to many disciplines and situations.
Bruce Lee isn't just a fighter, he's a thinker, and the rules that he created in his book and the guidelines, they're transferable to anything in life, and especially anything that involves using your body.
Then the fight is one blow, one kick, until you can put combinations together without even thinking. Until you learn how to keep moving and to endure, you've got to listen.
Bruce Lee's philosophy is absolutely as fresh as when it was newly minted in the 1970s. Adapt what is useful, reject what is useless, and create what is specifically your own, which you can apply to anything. I might do that as a filmmaker, you might do that as a documentary filmmaker, somebody else might do that as a musician, as a sculptor, a dancer, whatever. Everybody can adapt that philosophy to their area of expertise.
Bruce Lee's introduction to philosophy started early, at 13, when he began studying Kung Fu under the guidance of the legendary master, Yip Man. He taught Bruce Lee that the martial arts involve much more than just the physical. When he came to the United States at the age of 18, Bruce Lee majored in philosophy, studying all types, Eastern, Western, ancient, and modern, so that he could blend the physical and the philosophical in his martial art of Jeet Kune Do. He summed up his philosophy of being flexible, fluid, and not sticking to one particular style in a television interview in 1971.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
The Pierre Berton interview was one of the few Bruce Lee did in English, and it allowed him to communicate his thoughts to an audience outside of Hong Kong.
So in this interview, he was able to communicate all those thoughts and do it in such a way that it was not just physical, also philosophical, and a way to conduct one's life. That's why I think this interview is more meaningful than many of the others that concentrate only on Bruce's physical ability.
His philosophies, his work ethic, his cultural kind of background, and to interpolate that into a kind of a cinematic world where it's believable. You have an actor who really believes this way of life. You know, he was the real thing. He compares Kung Fu to water, that Kung Fu has the continuity of movement where, you know, it's constantly moving. Water, you cannot grab, right? And water can go through a solid, you know, it can go through a rock. It's philosophical, but at the same time simplistic, and it can be understood by a young child or a master.
Bruce Lee's philosophy, recounted in his book The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, was apparent in some of his earliest American TV appearances, where he would include his teachings in the script.
You must free your ambitious mind and learn the art of dying.
He quotes from the Hagakure, the Japanese way of the warrior. To learn to lose, to learn to die, is to be liberated from it. I mean, it's just amazing to think of, like, getting that kind of information, that kind of philosophy on a mainstream television show.
Bruce Lee changed philosophy by modernizing it and making it mainstream. He embraced the notion of self-help years before it became popular, and showed that philosophy could be part of everyday life.
Bruce Lee had his own philosophy, and that philosophy ultimately was finding yourself, in my opinion, truthfully expressing yourself, and putting on no pretense. Being able to be who you are is a hard thing without putting on a show. So his goal was to just be.
Bruce Lee's philosophy is still being picked up and taught by people around the world. Sifu Shi Yen Ming is a 34th generation Shaolin monk. who defected from China to the U.S. in 1992 and opened up a Shaolin temple in Manhattan. He teaches Chan philosophy, also known as action meditation.
Tell you about Bruce Lee's philosophy. His philosophy was fantastic. Just like I'm teaching the Chan Buddhism, Chan, C-H-A-N, Buddhism, the philosophy, knowledge. Nothing can be everything. Everything can be nothing.
Sifu Shi Yanming credits Bruce Lee as being the main influence on his life and believes that he should be recognized as one of the world's great philosophers.
Bruce Lee was authentic martial artist. Also, he was the philosopher. If he wasn't great martial artist, he will be the greatest philosopher, without question.
I read the Bible and the Quran sometimes, and it mentions that there are major prophets and there are minor prophets. The major prophets we all know, Moses, Jesus, Abraham, Muhammad. In my theory, I believe that Bruce Lee was a minor prophet, you know what I mean? Because what he brought to martial art and what he brought to American society, what he brought to the Asian culture in American society to be accepted by all people is something that prophets do.
Bruce Lee's philosophy has been adopted by people in numerous fields. His belief that success flows from dedication and self-knowledge helped propel him to become the first Asian superstar and would change forever the way Asians are seen in the West. Bruce Lee exploded onto American cinema screens in August 1973 in Enter the Dragon. For many Asian Americans, he was a revelation, the first Asian hero they had ever seen on the screen.
Usually you would be seeing white actors playing Asian roles, like Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's. You discover me! So the appearance of Bruce Lee was quite revolutionary because people of the actual race were playing that race. He brought Asian faces to American cinema.
For many Asian people around the world, Bruce Lee became an instant role model.
We connected to him because he was the first one that came out and said, look, I'm Chinese, I have yellow skin, you know, I can do everything else everybody else can. Well, myself, growing up in America, I can totally relate to him. You know, coming to America as an immigrant, being a minority in a dominant white world, and the things that he wanted to achieve in life. I believe that's why other minority races, they can relate to that, especially the urban minorities. They can feel the same passion that Bruce Lee wanted to bring for his own race.
Before Bruce Lee, the majority of Asian characters in Western films were limited to being evil masterminds like Fu Manchu, subservient laborers, or comic fools.
Bruce Lee really changed the way Asian actors are seen in the West, and I think that's something you can give him a lot of credit for. For Chinese people around the world, and also for minorities around the world living anywhere where they're sort of oppressed, beaten down, have a crummy job. This was huge. This was someone with non-white skin who was not Caucasian. This was someone standing up and sticking up for themselves.
And it wasn't just Asians who connected with this new non-white hero.
He was a hero for an entire culture that had no heroes. Bruce came along in Kato. It was the first time that you've seen an Asian guy in control.
Everything on the table where we can all see it.
As an African American, that was the first time I saw someone who seemed darker to me doing something like that. Like I had never seen that before. It was the first hero that I ever saw that wasn't a white person.
Prior to making his 4 kung fu films, Bruce Lee was cast as the crime-fighting chauffeur, Kato, in the 1966 TV series, The Green Hornet.
Protect the rights and lives of decent citizens, rides the Green Hornet.
He got the part after being spotted at a karate tournament in California.
Test X2, take 1, speed.
It was this screen test that was to lead to his first U.S. television role.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee.
Speed.
It was also Bruce Lee's first chance to demonstrate his formidable kung fu skills.